Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. This is Chris, and welcome to Coding in Public, for real. So I've started doing some of these live streams. Basically, I try to just challenge myself, and whether it's doing a project that's kind of already set up like this, or just looking through a list of kind of JavaScript projects. I try to do this pretty frequently, just because I think it keeps me fresh, and I'm honestly still quite a bit of a learner myself, so I'm not. I think these kinds of things are super helpful when you're learning, or even at kind of the beginning stages of coding. So I hope this is a help, and I hope you enjoy these. This is never going to be like my main thing, and so I figured I'll just kind of code because I enjoy it, and hopefully you enjoy watching me. If you're not into live streaming, that's totally fine. Let me go ahead and switch over here and show you. This is what we're going to be working on, this e-commerce product. Oh, hey Jedden, how you doing? But on Tuesday, I've got this floating login placeholders script coming out or video coming out that'll walk you through how to do this. You can also tab through this like this. And so if you're interested in kind of more UI UX stuff like that, I'll be working on that later. Hey Arish, welcome. So that'll be Tuesday. But for now, we're just going to live stream through this. I've literally only downloaded the code and I copied out the files to a Figma file. I have not looked at it. I haven't even tried to think through it so that you can kind of get the whole process. I realize not everyone loves that kind of thing, so hopefully it's enjoyable for you. It looks like I'm having a little trouble with my internet. Oh, now it looks like it's back in. So if you have any trouble, just let me know in the chat, and that'll help me know what's going on. Also, let me know what you're working on yourself, and I'd love to hear kind of what you guys are working on. Hey, Eduardo, welcome. All right, so let's go ahead and look through this. So you can see you've got a desktop design, a lightbox design, and a mobile design. This looked fun. There's no way we're going to get through all this today. Hey, Steve. Now, if you look in here, they give you a JPEG, style guide, optimized images, README, and an HTML file with pre-written content, okay? So I've downloaded this. I don't have a pro version or anything like that. And then the brief is try to get it look as close as you can to the design as possible. Let me just zoom in some. View optimal layout. Let's see. Starter guide. Okay, so download it, read through the README, kind of get going. All right, so that's what I've got here. Let's open the README so I can actually see what we're supposed to be doing here. So it looks like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like I said, I just wanted to kind of do this fresh. So where to find everything. This is where to post. Okay, so I mean, basically you're just building out the site, I think. Okay, so HTML page, I've got some stuff up and running. Let me actually open this up in live server. Okay, so nothing too much going on. And then I've gone ahead and put everything over here. And all I've done is place them on backgrounds. So I've got mobile stuff, desktop stuff. All right, so I think what I want to do to start with, this is what I typically do, is just kind of see what I need to create, what kind of components, the different styling that I need to worry about with spacing and font size and stuff like that. So taking some time to set this up ahead of time, I realize it might not be the most entertaining content in the world, but it is really important and it saves you a lot of time in the long run. So I don't know how much we'll get done today. I'm assuming probably just CSS and maybe not even all of that because there's a lot of little things to worry about. But we'll see. I'm not super fast when I code myself, and we'll be looking stuff up as we need to. Let me come back over here. Style guide. This is what I want. Okay, so is there some kind of font? Oh, here we go. So let's go ahead and open this. Let's see, do I even have this font on my machine? I don't think I do. I guess we don't need it. But it might be helpful, actually. Let's see, 400, and let's get rid of that. Let's go 400 and 700. Go ahead and grab those. And let's see. I'm going to actually just import these, I think. The other thing is, as we're thinking about this, I'm going to need to build this out either just straight up with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, or we could do like a Tailwind or some other component framework, although I prefer Tailwind just because it gives me a lot of flexibility. And we could use something like Astro, which I played around with, I think on one of my previous videos here, not too recently. So if you want to see that, we can try that. It might take a little more setup. But let's go ahead and come in here and do a style. Sometimes it cuts out the text there, and I'm not sure why it does that. So I'm going to go ahead and import that for now. And obviously it's not affecting anything yet. But it will be helpful to know kind of the size of this kind of stuff. Do they give me that? Let's check. The font size, paragraph is 16. Okay, good to know. Mobile's 375 and desktop is 1440. So I'm going to use those, I think, and set up some kind of dynamic font sizing based off of those numbers. If you have interest in seeing Tailwind or in seeing Hugo or in seeing Astro or one of these framework builders, static site generators, let me know. Otherwise, I think I'll just code this in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay, enough talking. Let's kind of see what's going on here. So they're saying this is 16. You know what? It's going to be really nice if I have this on my machine. Let's go ahead and just download this now. Let's see. Download all. Can't see. Open this up. I'm going to install this. And I'm installing this on my other machine here, or my other screen. Where are you watching from today if you're watching live? If you're not watching live, I mean, I would skip through all this, but you do you. Whatever you want to do, since we're just kind of setting stuff up right now. Okay, so I think I've got that installed. I think I can just use it directly without having to restart this. So let's see. Coup something? Maybe not. All right, let me restart this. And what was that thing called? Figma. And I'll open this back up. All right, so now we've got this. I should be able to come over here and change this to Coup something. Coup fam, is that right? I can't even remember what this stuff's called. We just looked at it. Kumba or something. All right, let's try again. There we go, Kumba Sans. All right, so if this is supposed to be 16, then that kind of gives me a type breakdown. So that's the normal size here. This is obviously the 700. So let's change that. I think it was bold, and we'll just say fall. And my guess is this is double, so like 32. So what we're doing is just kind of figuring out what we need. We'll do like 33, something like that. So this is for mobile. So that's basically double. So we'll do 33 here. We know that this is 16. And then I've got this small font. I'm just trying to figure out kind of the type scale that we're going to need. So we'll do sneaker. And we'll make this 12. Is that about right? Maybe 14. I don't think they give you this, so this is what I would do if I got a design that was just images, which sadly you get a lot from designers. So we're going to call that 14. And let's see, do we have any other? This looks about the same here. Let's double check. So 125. If you've got a magic way to do this that's not typing all this in randomly, let me know. I kind of feel like that needs to be bigger. So we'll do 35, 36. So I think I'm going to change that to 36, which I think is actually what this top one is here too. So let's do 36 up here. And then this, actually this looks like about 16. I should probably change this to 16 and not make it bold. I think medium. And then let's bring this over here. Maybe that's a little bit bigger. So if we can kind of get a size or kind of know what we need, and this looks bold again. So 16 bold, that looks the same down here. That looks the same. So we're going to have a 16 or 18 bold. And then this one was the 36 bold. If we can kind of get these type sizes, then we have a sense of kind of how big stuff needs to be. Okay, so we got that set out. And then this is just a SVG, I would guess, so we don't need to worry about that. And we'll worry about those kinds of things later. So I know I need a 14, a 16, an 18, a 36. 18, 36. And these last two are bold, and the other ones look to be the normal size. Maybe this is bold too. Normal weight. Okay, so we've got that. Now let's worry about some spacing stuff. And I think there's a way, let's see, view, a zoom to fit, zoom to 100%. I think that's it. Okay, so now what I can do is I can actually come in here and hit Command-Shift-4 on a Mac and get spacing. So it looks like we're about 28, something like that, apart. And just trying to get a sense of kind of the spacing between stuff. That's 36. Let's go on the side here. So I'm going to call this 30 and this 30 and this 30. So I've got a 30 and a 36. And then this is probably bigger. Let's see, 45-ish. So we're going to go 45. So 30, 36, and 45. Remember that. Actually, we're not going to remember it. Let's just come over here. All right, so 30, 36, and 45. Hey, we remembered it. And then let's come in here. That's about 32. This is probably that in between number. So some of these aren't exactly the exact same. So I don't know how closely we want to stick to it or if we want to change it and make it whatever we want. This needs to be a little smaller, so that's 20. So these are just different levels I can basically set up in the code to start with. This looks like it's about 25. Although probably from the SVG there, it's about that 20. So we'll have to worry about that later. That'll looks the same. This spacing, we're going to use this. And then the rest of these, let's see. We're at about 30s. To space all these out, this looks like that 20. Okay, so I've got a sense of kind of what we need. So that's our sizing. And again, this kind of setup is just necessary to make sure that you're actually hitting everything you need and that you're not having to come back and reset stuff up. So if we set up sizing, we're going to have 5 sizes on mobile. And then if we set up, and I'm doing mobile first, obviously, and then those are our font sizes. So let's go ahead and just set all this up. And let me grab this on my clipboard. And this is a pasteboard manager called Pastebot. I've done a video on it before. I think it's really helpful because you can copy these things kind of one after the other in order and then go back and basically add them in order in your code or wherever else. Let's come back over here and let me come up to my style sheet. All right, I'm seeing no suggestions for Tailwind or anything, so we're just going to do it plain. So these are the font sizes I have to worry about. Let me mute that so you don't have to hear that. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up some of these, and I'm just going to do it on the root here. And so, see, I could do different font sizes. Well, I guess they are different, so maybe I should do that. So, hey, let's turn off GitHub Copilot just so I'm not, let's turn it off globally, just so I'm not too influenced by it. So let's do like this. We'll do font size. Let's see, 1 is small. That's how most frameworks do it, so I guess we'll just stick that way. I don't know, for me, because it's like heading 1, I always think heading 1 is the biggest one, or the 1 is the biggest. So we'll do this. And I think what I want to do is a clamp. And so we'll do 20 pixels at the smallest. And that way we can dynamically size it. And then let's just do like 30 view width. And on fonts, I usually do like +1 rem. And then for now, we'll just put a placeholder number. Let's put like 400 so we remember to come back in later. So let's copy this down. And then this will be 2, 3, and 4. And then we also, I guess, need... we can just do, let's do it like this. Font. Let's do components, and that way we can just kind of add them, the classes as we need. So let's do font. Let's see. Let's change this to, let's first of all get this set up. Let's do one thing at a time, Chris. 16, 18, and 36. Okay, so we've got those, and then for each of those, what I'm going to do is set up a class with the same name. So font size 1, like that, and then we'll set this to font size of var, font size 1. Okay, so then let's copy this down. I'm going to change this. So if I just hit Command Shift and down arrow, I can change those. Command D, change those together. Come down here, change those together, change those together. Okay, so we've got those 4. And let's just comment this out so we remember for later. Oh, this is in JavaScript. Font sizes. And then let's come up here and let's do some spacing. and let's set those up. So let's get rid of this, get rid of this. These kinds of videos where you're just walking through it aren't always the most entertaining, but I do think they help, especially if you're first learning, like how do people think through these problems and kind of work on them. And so I hope if any of this is a help to you, I hope it is. Sometimes these help me just watching somebody. Usually I turn it on in the background. So hopefully I'm droning on in the background for you. Let's see, here we'll just do like sizer 1, and we'll do the 20 pixels. Actually, I'm going to do the same thing because we're going to have differences between the desktop and the mobile. So here we're going to make this 20 pixels, and we don't strictly need a rem affecting that. And then coming here to 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's what we got. And we're going to do the same thing here. So we'll go 30. And this is what I should have used that paste bot for instead of copying in to start with. 40 and then 45. Now, what I probably could do is, instead of setting this as pixels, I should set this as rems. So that way when people resize, that's what I should have thought of in the first place. So assuming that our base font, so we'll do base font, we'll do base size, no, base FS, how about that? And what I'm going to do is set this to a font, or 16 pixels. And then what I'm going to do here is say calc base, let's see, var base font, and then I'm going to multiply it times, let's see, what is 16 times 14? What am I looking at? See, oh, I need this to be 14 pixels. So if I need it to be 14 pixels, 16, that's an eighth of 16. So how about times 0.8? Is that right? We'll figure it out. And this is just going to be my base. So calc var base. This needs to be spelled correctly. All right, and then let's see, what is 28 divided by 16? 1.75. So let's grab all this again. And I forgot to multiply this. Oh, no, I don't have to. But am I closing that off too early? Var, I don't need to calculate this at all. This will just be my base font like that. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, so let's grab this right here. And that was 1.75. And then we'll do the same thing, except 36 divided by 16 is 2.25. Okay, so we'll do 2.25. I'm going to go for like an hour today, something like that, and then wherever we're at, we'll stop. A lot of this setup is going to take forever, but it should make stuff a lot quicker once we actually get around to it. So those should all be correct now. Now all we have to do is the same thing for the sizers. So we'll do 20 divided by 16. Let's just do this. Oh, I don't have JavaScript in here. I was going to say let's just set it up that way. 20 by 16, 1.25. So I'm going to comment this out. Oops. Let's do 1.25. What's 30 divided by 16? 1.875. 1.875. I kind of wish I had just done this in JavaScript and then like copied the values over. 36 divided by 116. There's probably an easier way to do this. 2.25. And then finally 40 divided by 16. 2.5, and 45 divided by 16 is 2.815. Well, I'm not going to remember that. So let's grab that, and 2.5. All right, so now I know what I need to calculate here. So we're going to do the same thing, and let's move this up, and let's just call this base, and then I can remove all of these. Oh, not all of those. That. Okay. Now let's copy this. And we're going to set this at 1.26. And let's see, these need to be rems anyhow. Rem. Can I calculate it like that? I don't think so. Okay, we'll figure that out. Some of the setup, like we're gonna have to change it anyhow, so I don't want to take too long with it either, because I'm sure I'm gonna come back around and change some of this. So let's just not put any values on it for now. And yeah, so we're gonna say, I think this needs to be 1 because it'd be 1 rem, and then all of these, this one should say rem, and then these should say rem. I'm pretty sure that's how I'd have it work. Yeah, and that way they can adjust it. Yeah, I think that's right. So both of these would come in here and be rems. And let's come back here and copy this down. And this would be 2.25 and 2.5. And finally, what are we at here? Calc var base 2.8125. Okay, so if I did those correctly, now I can come down and let's just copy this stuff down. We're going to set up these as utility classes too. So we'll do, let's just do size 1. We call it sizer. Let's do that. Sizer 1, and this is going to be equal to var of sizer 1. And let's copy all these down and do the same thing. So 1 and 1 is 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've got those bases set up, and obviously we're going to have to adjust these numbers for later. So let's come back over here and see what else we need. So I think what I want to do, now that I've got some of these utility classes ready, is, and we've got our fonts, our padding, margins, we're going to have this gradient shadow. I guess let's go ahead and work on the colors, and we should probably have those, I would think. The style guide, palette orange. Now they don't give you, oh, they do give you the neutrals. Okay, so let's just grab all of these and come over here. We'll set this up as colors, and then let's paste this in here. And I think what I want to do, because like, let's say you did a dark mode or something like that, or you change the color, naming them by like orange or pale or whatever kind of messes stuff up. So let's think about it more like background. Let's call it background, and then like, I don't mind like a light or something like that, but maybe accent. So background, this would be accent. And then all these different neutral colors, maybe we can just number them. So we'll set background, and this will be equal to, I guess, the white. It's kind of weird that it's 100% opacity. I don't like that. So we're going to change it. I always prefer color, even if it's like super faint. And I think what I want to do, 75% opacity. So they only have one with 75%. I was going to say what I want to do is actually set up this HSL value to where we can kind of add opacity layer as we want to, but since I guess I'm following a design and they already tell me that, we're not going to worry about that. So let's do 99 for the background, and then we'll do accent. So what I mean by that is like you could just leave it without this HSL, and then you wrap it in HSL when you actually get around to writing it, and that allows you to basically throw in an alpha channel on the fly. So a lot of times I like to do it that way, but I guess we're going to do it how they do it. So accent, we'll do this like offset, or let's do something better. We can do accent pale, because even if you changed it to like a dark mode, I think that would still work. So add both these in here, and then see we've got dark, and then basically various shades of that dark after that. So let's see, background, let's just do text, because that's going to be our text color, right? And then these blue shades, I'm not sure where they show up. Maybe it's that. Huh. I don't know. Well, I mean, they can't lie. It's front-end Mentor. So let's set black as our text with opacity for lightbox background. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to totally rebel and set up our own colored one. It's just slightly colored. So we'll use the same hue. Saturation's fine. Let's just put this to like 3%, something like that. And I've got this extension. I forget what it's called, but it changes the color. And as you can see against this dark background, you can't see anything. Actually, let me zoom in just a touch. We don't need the sidebar open. Am I going to use Sass? I don't know. Like, I know there's definitely uses for Sass, and I used to use it all the time. But with these CSS variables, it's just so much more flexible, like project by project, to not have dependencies and go in and be like, oh man, and plus you can update CSS variables with JavaScript, and so you can't do that with Sass variables. So if you're building out a framework, then yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, I could have done a map over these and over these, but it's like, I mean, that's 5 things, and for gaining very little, I think, for a project like this. If it was a bigger project, obviously I'd probably use something like Sass, but it was something small like this. A lot of one-page apps, I don't usually use it. I just like CSS variables because of how flexible they are and interactable they are with JavaScript. All right, so text, and then let's go ahead and do, we'll do like alt background or something like that for these other ones. And we'll take them one at a time. So let's copy these in like this. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's get rid of that. Let's just come in here and select all these by hitting Option and clicking. And then I'm just going to bring all these up. And then, let's see, let's bring this one up here. And add that in here. Somehow I messed those up. And let's call this alt background. It's probably a better naming convention here than this, but I think this will work for now. And then this will be 1, this will be 2, and this will be 3. I'm guessing these are for like box shadows and stuff like that, although I think that's what this accent pale is too. Black with opacity, so probably what I need is text opacity. Let's just do the whole thing. And then if I can see here, and this was 0.75, I think like that. Okay, so we've got our color set up. Let's go ahead and do the same thing we did for the other ones. Let's set up some utility classes. So I'm going to copy and paste these down here. And then we'll set up the first one as background. And what I need is background colors, and then I also would need font colors and then link colors. So here would be definitely a good reason to use Sass. But again, I don't know. I kind of feel like on a project this small, it should be fine. So let's do background like that. And again, a lot of this setup takes some time, but it's well worth it in the long run, in my opinion. Background color. Oh, background color, var, background. And then all we got to do is copy this down like we did up top. And since we've already named it like that, I should be able to come in here and just change it here to accent. And then this is accent pale. And this is text. Text opacity. And let's see. Alt background. And then now I should be able to just come in and all 3 of these. Just, you know what? One at a time. So let's just add 1. I'm not sure that's consistent with how I did the font sizes, but because I think I had a dash. I think it'll be okay. All right, so background alt 1. Let's do this. Let's just remove accent pale. I think that's clear enough. We'll be fine. So we're going to do the same thing here with text color. And all I'm going to do is copy all this down. Oops. Thanks. And let's remove all this. So I'm going to hit Command D to select all those and remove those. And then I should be able to go down and remove that. Okay, so now we've got colors for everything. We are going to need links and all that kind of stuff, but we can get to that when we get to that. All right, so that's mostly all the utility stuff. Let's go ahead and do like utility classes. I'm getting something yelling at me here. Did I forget a semicolon or something? It'll tell me when we get around to it. Okay. I think maybe here. These need an extra one. Okay. And same thing here probably, because I did the same thing. And if you see stuff like that you're like, hey, you're missing that, just let me know. You know, I don't pretend to be perfect with this kind of stuff and remove that. Okay. So I think that's set. Let's go ahead and jump over here and link this up. So if you add your style sheet before the title, it'll actually block the title from loading until the entire style sheet is loaded. So I usually move that all the way up top and then just do link CSS and link it as the final thing. So same thing with JavaScript. Basically, the last thing you always want would be your style sheet loading. Feel free to remove these styles. All right, well, thank you. I will. Okay, so we've got that hooked up. Let's come over this way. And then let's start working on kind of the base stuff for the body and all that kind of stuff. So let's say body here, font family. And let's come back over here and copy this out. Okay, so we're going to use those utility classes, to kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting. Let's come back over here and kind of look at the difference between the mobile and the desktop. So I think right now, and this is something I like to do, is just kind of ignore things that I know will take a little bit more thought. So I know this nav is going to take some more thought because we've got to actually probably change it from like a flex row to a flex column and worry about a lot of accessibility things. So I think for now, let's just get rid of the nav, pretend it doesn't exist. And then we just have this area, which isn't too bad, too hard to worry about. So at its most expanded here, let's see, all this I think is on mobile. These things are not on mobile. And then there's circles, right? Yeah, right here. So let's worry about this. Let's get rid of that and whatever other text I put on top of it. This is the same, this section right here, on mobile and desktop, except that this flips over, right? And I guess this wraps under. So we should be able to build some of that out ourselves. So, oh man, I wish I could copy this because now you're going to have to watch me type this stuff. Let's just, maybe right now what I'll do is just add the text in there. Oh no, they did. Cool. All right, so let's open that so I don't have to watch it from switching back over. Images, design, mobile, design. Okay, so let's move it over here so we can see as we build this out. So all we're going to worry about is this section right here, and this will eventually all go into main tag. So let's just do that now. And I'm going to move this to the bottom here. And I am going to want a button class here, and then this is probably should be like actual incremented, like a numbers field maybe. No, because then they can type in whatever they want. And I have to disable that. I think it might actually be easier. I'm not sure what the best practice is for that as far as like accessibility wise. Let's just start with what we got. So inside this main, we're going to start, this will all be on one card, and let's just call this like product. Let's call it description. All right, and inside here, I'm also going to want some utility classes, just basic ones for like grid or flex. So let's add those two. So much for saying we were done setting up. So I'm going to do grid will be display of grid, and then we'll do the same thing for flex. There's a couple things like this I prefer to have just as utility classes, and that because they're basic enough and it style stuff while I'm writing my code, and so I don't have to go back and to the CSS to get anything done. So like for instance, if we say grid, that should stack up. And then, right, I said grid, yeah, display of grid. Okay, so inside here is where we're going to move this other stuff. So sneaker company. So I'm assuming this is not a link. So I thought I turned off GitHub Copilot. Get out of here. So let's add this in, and I'm going to add this as, see, the H2 would probably be, is there any other text? No. So the H1, I guess, would probably be the sneakers. H2 might be the price. Because basically you're giving a hierarchy for people and for like Google and stuff like that. So let's just make this a p tag here. And I'm going to add, oh man, now I got to remember all these classes I made. Let's do accent, I think is all it was. And then we are going to want font size 1, which I think is what we made our smallest. And then I'm going to do another one called uppercase. And then let's just add that in here. And it's starting to show. And let's come over here. Let's do some more text. So this would be text uppercase. And then this would be text, what is it? Decorate? No, transform uppercase. And let's add a comment here. Text related util classes. Okay, I don't have a background color that I have to worry about. so we've got that. Next is the fall limited edition sneakers. And this one I do want to be an H1 on the page since there aren't any other ones. And I guess let's expand some stuff out. So I know I want it to be font bold, which I don't know if we actually added, so we'll need to add that utility class. I know I want it to be font size 4, I think was my biggest one. And then I might need to worry about some line height stuff, but we can worry about that later. So at least I've got that there, font size 4, size 3. All right, what did I call these things? FS2, FS3. Oh, you know what? I think it's because I'm larger. Maybe not. What is going on here? And again, if you see something I mess up, that's the beauty of coding in public. Font size. Maybe it's just that calculation thing that we spent forever on isn't doing anything. Which would be kind of ironic, but also maybe a thing we need to worry about. So we will come back to that. Actually, let me move this to the bottom just so we can inspect stuff as we need to. Okay. Yep. None of those things are working. Cool. Hey, this one is. It's because we're not doing any calculations. So maybe what we should do is just worry about getting this kind of scaffolded out, and then we'll mess with that later. So this is just P. This should be, it looks like this is like one of those grayer colors. And I don't remember what those were called other than alternate. So it looks like it might be this alternate background 1. Let's try it. So alt background 1. And then we'll paste this stuff in. It's just one paragraph, it looks like. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so we've got that set. All these are left aligned, so we shouldn't have to change anything there. Let's add the uppercase and the font bold over here as well. So font size, see, these are all font related. What did I say these were? Text related. I mean, come on, make up your mind. Text, font, not quite the same thing. So let's say font bold is font weight, bold. And then, what was the other one I had? Oh, uppercase. Oh, I've got the palette up and didn't even notice it. Oh, I already did uppercase. Okay, font bold. Let's move these. Let's move these up top. Let's see, those are just colors. So let's call this utility classes, and this will be fonts, and we'll separate font from color. See, sizer. These would be the same. And then we can call this like spacing. And call this, how about like just colors? And this could be, I mean, background color, it's all the same thing. Grid, and then we'll call this, let's call this layout. Okay, so it's kind of spacing this stuff out. And again, you know, if I was using Sass and building up maps and all this kind of stuff, that would make these quicker to build out, but, you know, it doesn't take too long. What have we been going? 30 minutes, something like that. Which reminds me, I need to get moving. Okay, so all of that is going to be the same. Now let's remind ourselves how this wraps. So these two things are always connected, but this one will wrap if you're on desktop, whereas it doesn't here. So I think as long as this is in a parent grid, and then these are kind of next to each other. So let's do this. Let's call this, let's see, I guess this could be product to script, and then this could be price, something like that. Or let's just call this product price. And let's call this, see, this is why I hate naming stuff, because I just want to write stuff, and I want to make sure I can remember it when I'm over my style sheet. Although if we're doing a lot of utility classes so far, we haven't needed to reference those. Let's just leave all this alone. This whole bottom section will be its own little area. And yeah, so let's just leave it like that. So product description, maybe let's call this product content. And then, let's see, do we need anything there? Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this in a div. We'll call this product, what was that, description? Let's just do the whole word, product description. Okay, and then I'll grab all of this. Come in here, and then close that off. Weird spacing. Okay, product price. So we've got our 125, and that is going to be, it doesn't need to be, I guess we said it could be an F2 or H2. So we'll do H2, and then we will call this font bold. And then, do we need anything else? I guess font size 4. I think that's our largest, even though it's not working right now. We'll do 125.00. And this one should be 4.2. And then next to that, so this needs to be in its own little div. And we're just going to add, see, this can be a flex, a div with a flex class on it. And our utility class should take care of making that flex container. And then I also, let's see, let's go ahead and add a gap here. And I think that makes sense. And we'll just call this the spacing or sizer. And this was our 20 pixels, which if I recall was our smallest one, maybe. Yeah. Okay, so gap sizer 1. And then I need to add those classes in a little bit. But right now, again, just in the process of kind of continuing on, let's add the percentage discount. So I'm just going to make this a paragraph tag, and it will have accent 1 for the actual text, and then a background of accent pale, and then font weight, or font bold, I think is all we called that. And then font size of, that was our third biggest one, I think. And then we will call that 50%. Okay, so it's over here, background, accent pale. Okay. We also will need some padding on that. But I think in this case, let's just leave it alone for now. Okay, come back over this way, and this also is going to need to be a flex parent. I don't want to do too much. Like some of these I'm just going to write in CSS, and we're kind of mixing up utility classes and otherwise, but I don't want to build out a whole utility system just for a one-page app. So this will be 125 or 250, and this will be another one of those pale colors. I have the same here, alt background 1. So let's do this. We'll just add that. I think it's like going to be 2. And this is going to be 250. And then we'll call this the discount or original price. Let's do this. Price, original. And then this can be price, discount. And this will give us access to all this in our CSS. And then we'll just call this price. Yeah, price. Okay, so we got that set up. And that does look like about the right color. It looks like we need a font bold on this though. Font bold. And then it does look about the same size. So font size 3, I think. Obviously none of this is working because we messed up our calc somehow. Okay, so I got all that. Let's next go to the next section. And these are always stacked like this on mobile and then next to each other on desktop. So we'll come in here and say product, cart, or checkout. And let's see, these need to be flex. And then inside here, I think what I'm going to do is have 2 buttons and then just that number in the middle. I think that makes sense to me. Fuck, flex class isn't working either. Man, what are we doing? Flex, did I ever set it up? Probably not. Flex display grid. Well, that's why. All right. I mean, you wanted the real thing, so this is the real thing here. Flex. What did I say? 2 buttons. So we'll have a button here, and we'll give this an idea of like decrease price. How does that sound? Let's do this. Let's call it price decrease price and we'll do decrease. And then I do need some kind of ARIA attribute on this, so ARIA label. So before I forget, or this isn't a price, amount decrease. So we'll say decrease quantity. And the reason we would add that is because we don't have, we don't have any way to signify what it is for screen readers and other assistive technology. Let's come back over here. Let's see, do they give us SVGs for those? Images, close minus, minus. Hey, how about that? Let's just copy all this out, and I'd rather load it. There's no reason to fetch a little icon like this, and we'll put it inside here. Is that working? Oh, I killed a bracket. Okay. And let's see, let's go ahead. I'm also going to add class to this, flex, and then we'll add an amount to that too, so we can change the sizing for all that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this down one more time, and we'll do increase and increase, and then so we can close this. Let's get the plus icon minus. Where is it? Icon plus. Let's close that down, close the sidebar, and replace all of that. Increase quantity. Okay, so both of those are there. And then in between the two, can I collapse these? Just so I don't have to take up so much vertical space. Let's have, I guess, just a span with a class of QTY. Quantity. And let's see, do I want them? I guess I would need ARIA label in this too. ARIA label of current quantity. And here we'll just start it at 0, and then we should be able to access that. Let's change this to an ID. And then I will have a class because I'm going to need font bold and font size 1. I think that's my smallest font size. No, it's not. It's the same as those, so I think it's font size 3. All right. So we're almost there. We've got this add to cart, and I'm assuming I've got an SVG for that. Cart. Does that look right? Yeah. Oops. Let's close that down. And below this product checkout flex, this all needs to be wrapped. So if I do Command Shift P, I should be able to wrap with an abbreviation, and we'll just call this div or dot flex for now. So that should all be wrapped. And let's see. Yeah, that would need to be a flex as well. And then this whole thing's a flex, which is what this product checkout is. I think we're good. All right, so now let's come down here and let's have our button. And it should be a button, an actual official button, because it's just interacting with the page. Now we're going to give this an ID, ID of checkout. And then, well, I guess it doesn't need ARIA label because it's going to have add to cart. And I will have a flex on this as well. Oops, class flex. And then we're going to call this checkout BTN for the class name too, so I can change that. So we'll have two things in here. I'll have that paragraph, and then I'll also have the SVG, where is that, of the cart. Okay, perfect. The background here also needs to be a background of accent. And then the text, let's see here, it needs to have a class of, why did I name these things so weird? The alt background one. Let's try it. Nope. Let's just do background. It looks like that white color. All right, more or less. I think it's accent pale. All right, it just needs to be changed. Let's see, accent pale. Yeah, more or less. This fill here, you know what I should do? Okay, let's get rid of this. Add to cart size. I do need a font size, so font size 3. And then this fill, I'm going to do current color. And then I'll just change the button here to that button, and then both of them should pick up that color. Okay, cool. This also needs font bold. All right, so I think all that looks just about right. I just need the sizing for things and then spacing stuff out properly. All right, so that was a lot of work. Or I made it a lot of work either way. So let's worry about these font size. Let's just do it here in browser, and that way we get immediate feedback on whether or not it's working. So clamp, let's see, I took my var. What was I doing? I don't have the var here. Okay, so that's all we had to do. All right, I'm gonna definitely put half of that on you and half of that on me. So let's grab all these. Command Shift L will grab all those, and then I should, oh, don't mess with me. So much for speeding things up. So, oh, you know what? I just selected too much of them. Let's grab all that, Command Shift L, and not remove the final parenthesis. Hey, it's all working. Now, did I calculate them correctly? Clearly not. Unless this is zoomed in. Nope, it's not zoomed in. Okay, so those are all massive. So that could have gone better. See, our base is 1 times. So why would that be so big? Huh. If you see what I'm doing, let me know. Computed. Font size, whoa. Times 1 point. So this should be... All right. Let's change all these to nothing, and this should be 1 rem. That wasn't so hard. Except now it's not working again. Let's see. Font size times 0.25. Sizer 4, font size, base. Maybe it's the calculation here. So let's change these to like... Hey, thanks, Marco. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times when you're kind of by yourself coding, you think everyone else figures it out perfectly, and then you realize when you just watch somebody code live, you're like, oh, okay, they're like me. They mess up all the time, and so hopefully that's encouragement. That was kind of my thinking. See, this should be the clamp. I don't know why that's not working properly. All right, well, let's stop worrying about it. Let's move on. And usually when I come back, I'm like, oh, okay. That's how I was an idiot. I wasn't sure. Now I know. So this whole section, what I want is the padding around the whole main area. So we're going to do a class here. And I'll do my sizer of 1, I think was the smallest one, which is that 20 around the whole thing. And actually, I don't want it like that. Let's do this. Everything here so far inside the main is going to be wrapped in product. Nope. Did I do that right? Wrap in a product, a div with a product class. Okay, and then this product class, let's see, the body, maybe the body tag. Well, no, I don't want to put a padding on everything. So let's just do it on the product class. So let's do that. I'm going to come over here. And right now, let's move this over just so we can see what's going on next to each other. So now let's actually style. And here, I'm going to say like, yeah, let's just call this product section. Oops. All right, product class. And this is where I'm going to put padding. And I'll do var of sizer 1. Cool. I also probably need to do clear up top, which I never did. So let's just do, let's see, Josh what was that guy's name? Josh, come out. There we go. This guy, post snippets, goodies. So you have a search. Search for this guy's site for, custom reset. I was about to search on Google. Let's use this guy's. I like his reset. Does he have a copy? No. I mean, who doesn't like a site like that? Okay, let's come back up here. Paste all that in. Save it. Okay, so that's a basic reset. And he kind of walks you through why he does what he does, but I'll leave that to you. Okay, now let's come back over here. Okay, I probably got like 5 or 6 more minutes, and then I don't know when I'll pick this up again, maybe a week or two. I realize that this first video is definitely going to be slow, but let's see. Sizer 3, Sizer 1. What did I call the first one? But thanks for sticking with me through it if you're still here. Sizer -1. What do I do? Like add like 19 parentheses? All right, calc var John Deere. What in the world? Var base. Okay. Sizer 1. Let's see. Is it working? Okay, it is. All right, back down this way. Sizer 1. And I did the same thing where I added rem. No? It's hard to see with this thing so zoomed in. Sizer 1. 1 rem. And these, I think, were pixels. So, no, they weren't. 1.26. The first one would have been 20. Right? So, like 16 times 1.26. What am I doing wrong here? 1 rem. It should be 16 pixels. Times 1.26. Okay. I'm making an executive decision. We're going to kill the clamp just in case that's messing with us. And that way you can actually see me code something worthwhile for the last 5 minutes here. So we're not just messing with that. And then we can come back and add that later because clearly I messed something up. And I mean, we all like real life coding, but at some point. Okay. So now it's working. I don't know what's going on. We'll figure it out for the desktop when we get there. Sizer 1, we're set there. Now let's work on some of these other things. So that should be correct. Let's get down to 375, I think is what it said it needed to be. So let's do 375. And then let's zoom it in even a little bit more than that. Okay, so we've got that set. I do think on the H2s, probably shouldn't have shut that down. So let's come back up to our font stuff. Font. Let's set these H2s here. And let's see, let's do H2 or anything with a class of H2 will be a font. And I'll show you why I'm doing that in a second, or font line height of like 1.1. And let's see, or H1s. Let's just do H1s and H1s. Okay, and I mean, I probably should check the Figma officially. 1.1. Let's do this. Let's do H1s. And then just in case it's different for H2 later, I think that'll be about the same for now. But let's change these to H2s. And then that way, if we add something that is going to have the same styling, I don't remember what else is on the site, we can just add a class of H2. We don't have to be stuck to the semantic H2. So basically, any H1 official tag or any H2s would have this styling. Or we could just come in here and add like down here, we could just do H2, a class of H2, and it would actually shift the line height on that as well without us having to semantically change it to an H2. All right, so let's work on this section next. So I've got 1, 2, 3 things in there. And if I remember correctly, they were all spaced out evenly, and it was our, let's see. Let's go back to view. 100%. Zoom to 100%. That doesn't seem right. What was it? Zoom to fit. Nope. I think it is zoom to 100%, which probably means that all those sizes were off. But basically, I want to get it to like a true size of what these should be spaced apart. 40, that wasn't it. 35, 36. Oh, we did, I guess. 35, 36, 25. So let me split this thing. If you hold Option, you can click like that, and then basically I can keep these. Actually, let's do it where the top is. These sizes. So it should be size 2 and then size 3 on the bottom. So I can't really do, usually when I have like a parent container, like a grid container, I prefer to do all the spacing with the parent. In this case, I think it might be better to actually use margins. And what I could do is just do a margin. Again, I like to kind of keep it consistent. So like margin bottom on everything or margin top on everything. So I think I'll do a margin bottom on everything. So we'll do a margin bottom on, let's see, this one right here. So see, this is where it's like, do I start writing more utility classes or just take the product description and say the first child? Oops, I was supposed to, yeah, oh, I'm good. I need to leave this the same. And then let's come down here. And let's grab the product content first. So it's already a grid. Then what I want to do is I'm going to add a gap. We never did gap. Sizer 1. So it'll be the smallest between each of these sections. All right. Spacing. Sizers. So let's come in here. So we're going to have a gap. Sizer 1. And this will be gap of var sizer 1. Sizer 1. And then let's copy all this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how fast we can do this. 2, 3, 4, 5. And an extraneous one just because. Okay, so we should be good there, and some of those things should space out now. Let's actually grab. So this is the product, and that's where everything is at. Pad 1, let's see. Didn't I have a gap on that? Oh, I put it on the wrong thing. Product content would be these things. We just zoomed in here. Product description, product content. So that's all one thing. Oh yeah. So this actually needs to go in the next section. Which would be product description maybe. Let's check this. Is that even doing anything? It is not. Gap sizer. Gap size. Okay. Gap sizer 1. All right, let's move this back out. Because I actually also, well, actually, I want it on both. So this parent container that holds everything. Okay, let's get some more space and sanity here. Product. Okay, so this parent container that holds everything should be spacing out each of those elements the same. And then the inner one here is the same way. Is that right? Let's do this. Let's also do a gap base. And this will just be our base. And then I'm going to change this one to base. I would, if I was doing this for production, I would need to basically double check that that's the exact pixel size, but I think that'll be a little bit closer. Styles. Okay, so yeah, it is working. All right, so I think that spaces stuff out a little bit better for us. Where's the dragger? There it is. Okay, so I've got those spaced out correctly. Now, for this, let's see, these font sizes seem really big because these should be a little bit smaller. So, font size 2, maybe it's font size 2. So let's grab both of those, hit the first one, hit Command D. Yeah, maybe. All right, so let's next grab this product price. Come in here. I think actually now that we got some of this built out, hopefully we can move a little bit faster through this, but I don't know. This is just real life. Product content was this. Already did that. Now that's the whole thing. So I actually don't need that right now. Product price. Here, I don't know. I kind of feel like I should use some utility classes here. Nah. Justify content between and space between. And what I'm wanting here is basically this to be over here and these to be next to each other. Then I'm also going to grab this and say align items center to vertically align them. And then, oh, that's align content center as well. Align content center. Nope. Why is this so large? Font sizer 1. It's just taking its height from that. Oh, it's a flex container. This is align content. That doesn't make sense with it. Okay, this is really obvious. What am I missing here? Let's just grab this here. So, content. That shouldn't affect any of these, really. Yeah. Flex row, no. Oh, there we go. Align items. I thought he did that. Align item center. Yep, definitely did that. Display content, align content center. I mean, am I just on the wrong thing? Content price. Oh, I am. Okay, so I've got this, the font. Yeah, I'm just on the wrong thing. Okay, so this should be align item center space between. Okay, so now I need to go to product price. And oh, man, now I gotta size all these correctly. So let's just do first child. It's always gonna be the first child, so we can do that. So let's copy this down, and we'll do first child, and then just to make sure we've got the right thing, let's do display none. Nope. First of type. No. Product price. First child. Okay. First child. Element grouping sibling elements among a group of siblings. So I want first of type, right? First of type. Product price. Let's just do first of type, first letter, first line. Nth. It's the child of the product price, right? This one right here is what I'm interested in. Versus this, right? I think so, yeah. See, nth child. 1. Display none. Of type. It's not nth of type. Okay. Well, for some reason my brain isn't working with this right now. So let's just come in here and say product price. Let's call this discount. Nope, this is the discount. Actual. Okay, so it is officially working. And here is where I want to say align item center. All right, there we go. Now, this price, nope, we're good there. Price discount is, I need to do padding of like, let's do like 4 pixels and 5 pixels, something like that. And we'll do a border radius of 5 pixels. Why do I always misspell border radius? Border radius ish. All right, it's not quite as high, so like 2 pixels ish. And then the color, action 1. What were my colors? Accent pale, accent. So it just needs to be accent. All right, so that should be correct now. And let me go ahead and open this back up. Mobile design. Let's put it right here. I'm quickly running out of space now. Let's move this over. All right, well, this could have gone a lot faster, but we do need to strike this one out. Let's do that next. Price discount. Where is that? Price original. And here we're going to do text transform, no, decorate. Line through. All right. All right, back here. So we've got all those set up. That looks mostly correct. I guess that thing up here needs to be font weight bold right here. Font bold. Okay, other than that, that mostly looks right. Still looks a little too high on the line height. This looks about right, although usually you space out paragraphs a little bit more. That's right. Okay, so let's work on these two things, and then we're going to call it a day. I definitely thought I was going to get a lot more done, but I didn't sleep very well last night, so probably wasn't the greatest call to do this, but I already committed to myself publicly by posting it. So, all right, let's do this next section. Checkout +1. Okay, so we've got this. We're going to call this product checkout button. And here we're going to do product checkout button. Here it's already display flex, so let's do this. Let's do justify content space between, and then align items center. That should space all those out, and then this needs to be width 100%. Okay, and then the whole background here, we should be actually able to set this here. So background, alt accent, alt accent, alt background. And it's probably like background 2, I think. And I did not put a space. Now that doesn't look right. How about, oops. How about 3? Yeah. That looks better. Okay, now this border radius, we are going to have that consistent for the button and that. So let's go ahead and let's add another section up here. We'll just call this like miscellaneous stuff. Oops. And then here, let's add a radius. I mean, I don't know what this would be, 1 rem maybe, something like that. So we can reference that. And then fonts, uppercase, let's see, spacing, not really that. Let's just do layout, nah. Let's just do like alternate. What do we call that? Miscellaneous. And here we're going to say radius. What was that? Bar radius. We'll just do rounded class, and then we'll say this is our border radius, is our var radius. All right, so now we should be able to come in here. Font size, accent pale, discount. Where's my background? Here we go. So I should be able to just come in here and say rounded. Yeah, there we go. Now, I also need to come in here. This is my price. What do we call this? Checkout button. So I do need to have some padding here. And we could do, it was like the 20 pixels, right? On the outside of all those. So yeah, let's just do that. So var, oops, what's that? Space sizer. I'm stuck between spacer and sizer, and I think I keep saying the wrong one. So 20. It seems a little shallower up that way. So you can actually, I think I can wrap this in a calc now too, right? Times 0.75-ish. 0.2. See, is that working? Yeah, it is. 0.1, 0.05. So I would need to actually figure out exactly what that is. Something like that. And then let's see this font size here, 250. Button, button, button. Where's my number? How am I missing this? Add to cart. Oh, here you go. So this is font size 2. I think we figured out it need to be smaller. Yeah, so this should probably be like 0.5. Something like that. Do these have rounded edges? Or can I not see that? I don't think they do. That's what I wanted, right? What is this thing called? Checkout button. That's definitely what I have. Where did I put rounded? Clearly somewhere else. All right, let's zoom. I'm not sure why that's even saying it's zoomed in because it doesn't look like it is. Okay. Where did I do rounded? I did rounded on the 50%. I don't need that. I need it. Checkout button. All right. It's hard being so zoomed in because I'm usually quite zoomed out. So sorry about that. Okay, so all these buttons, I'm surprised the reset doesn't kill those. So let's come up here and I'm going to kill all the button stuff. Button font inherit. Okay, good. That's why it's all inheriting that properly. I do also want to come in here and say body button. And we'll say border none and background none. All right, now I should be able to tab to these. Yeah, there we go. So I probably do want some height on those or padding or something. So let's keep this stuff up top. Come back here. So I've got padding on those. Let's actually come to these buttons. And I think they had the class of amount. So I'm going to grab all these and let's just grab the same padding and we'll adjust it. Let's see, let's come in here, grab those. So let's just do, I mean, it's basically just so that when you select it, it looks similar. Maybe let's do this. Let's do a height of that and then we'll do a width of that. I think that should be the same. No, bad call. So let's add that padding back in, and now let's do a height of our sizer 5-ish. So that's too big. 3, 2. All right, and then I just want it to be in the middle. Yeah, maybe just the 1. That should work. And then I should be able to say width here too. Nope. Okay, let's change this to 2 and 2. Okay, so that one's not quite wide enough. So 3 and 3. And then maybe what I could do is change the sizing on here to like 0.2. Basically, I want you to be able to tab to these like this if you need to, and then hit them. And then here, this needs to be, is it already display of grid? Or I did flex on both of those. Let's change these. Oops. Let me grab both of these. Command-Shift-L grabs them both. And then I'm going to change this to grid. And now I should be able to just come in here and say place items center. All right, so those are properly set up. And then that should all be in the middle. Yeah, I think that works. That looks a little too rounded now. So maybe I need to work on that rounded. Let's see, where's that? So let's do like 0.8 rem. And again, I probably would need to come check on that. Okay, so that's set. Let's now come to the last thing, and then we're going to call this good. Hopefully you enjoy this. I don't know, this is literally what I do for fun in my free time, so checkout button is what I want. Checkout button, class. I usually reserve the IDs for JavaScript, so that's why I'm kind of leaving those alone. Let's see. I already got a background color on it, and I've got a flex on it. Do I want flex? Yeah, because I just want them spaced out. So let's do a gap. Why did I do a gap sizer? I should have just done gap 1. All right, that's dumb. So let's change this. Let's grab all those. I'm just going to call this gap 1. And then gap sizer. Yeah, I don't need to just type random stuff for the sake of it. Let's grab, I guess, all this. Command-Shift-L grabs all those. Gap 1. Okay, so that should still work. Come back down here. All right, so now we're going to do, it's a flex item, flex child. So let's see, justify content center, because I want it to be in the center, and then align items center. Nope. Well, it was correct. I just messed something up. Okay, so there we go. And let's move back over this mobile design. We got to change that font size since now we know what we're doing with it. Font size of, what do we decide, 2? And that also means we need to, font size 1. It should be the same size as this. Okay, so now we need to add the similar padding that we had on this here, because it should be the same. Let's do that. Now with these SVGs, I think we should be fine. A lot of times I like to put pointer events not on them, just so if I forget my JavaScript to like look at the current target rather than the target, then I'm not clicking the SVG and messing up the JavaScript. Okay, so we've got that. Let's see, why is this not? Oh, you know what? This needs to be back up to the original, and then this needs to be rounded. All right, more or less. Let's come back over here. So we've got some spacing issues. Like this shouldn't be quite as spaced out as far. Let's see, this button and check out flex. Let's change it here. So these are all separate, whereas really what I want is these two to be kind of wrapped together and then set the spacing between them separately. So product checkout right here, all the way really to the end, through the final, see, it's just a button at the end, I think, yeah. So I'm going to grab, oh man, all these product checkout. I'm going to wrap these one more time, so Command-Shift-P, and find wrap, there it is, and I'm going to wrap it in a div. We'll call this checkout. Let's wrap it in a section, and which, I mean, I haven't been really using semantic HTML here, which I should have been, but we're going to just call this checkout, so we know it's the checkout area. And then I do want this to be a grid. No, I want it to be flex. And we'll do gap of 1. Okay, so if I did that correctly, yeah, that should work. And now I'm getting those things spaced out. I do need to, let's see, that section, just call it checkout. So product checkout amount. So we're going to call this the checkout section. There's obviously a lot of cleaning up of the code I need to do, and it's really hard with this zoomed in, but I want you to be able to see it too. So let's grab the checkout section here, and we're going to first of all do, actually what I need to do is come to the, let's see, section, checkout flex, the product checkout. Do I have that at all? No. So let's move this up here. All right, like that. And then, oops. Right now that's got nothing in it. We'll fill that in later. But the product checkout here, which is, let's see, this. I'm so confused what I did. Product checkout, man, what was I thinking? Product checkout button. So this whole section, all right. Let's just look at the source of truth here. So this whole thing is checkout. This first one is called product checkout, and this is called product checkout button. What in the world? Checkout button. Oh, okay. So this product checkout, and this is checkout button. I mean, that makes no sense. Product checkout. So let's call this checkout amount. And then this can be product, let's see, checkout, amount, button, here, product checkout amount button, amount checkout button. Okay, so assuming I did all those things correctly, product checkout button. So where's the product checkout button? Product checkout, product checkout button. Okay, so it's saying it's there. Did I just not save it? Oh, I didn't save it. Okay. Save your work. Product checkout button. So we got all that set. So the last thing I needed to do was to come in here to the, what was this section called again? Oops. Checkout here. And for both the product checkout, which is now called checkout amount, amount, this needs to be a flex of 1. And same thing for, so checkout amount is this, and then we should change the other one to say checkout button. So I'm going to change this to checkout button. And like that. So we'll take both of these, and we're going to call it good after this button, and that should flex them both. Let's see. I need to wrap them. Flex, wrap, of wrap. Flex, wrap, wrap. Does that not work? There we go. So that I'll just make it 100% and 100%, and then we can worry about that on desktop when we get there. Checkout button needs to be changed. What, down here? So let's move this up. You know, I keep saying I'm going to be done. I did this last time too. All right, so let's get rid of this. Okay, it's real now. We're going to be done. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this. So let's just say get add all, and then, oh, it's not. Get init, and then I'll say get add everything, and then get commit, and we'll just say initial slow work on the card for the, I mean, come on, initial init commit. All right, and we don't need to push it anywhere because I don't have anything, any repository set up for it. All right, well, that took forever. But I think having a lot of those classes set up, these utility classes, and like the dividing line between when you do a utility class and when you don't is kind of up to you. Let me tell you what I do, and then we will really be done. So usually what I like to do is, you know, set up any kind of sizing or font sizes, because those you want to be consistent. And then colors, obviously, and any kind of miscellaneous things. So sometimes I'll have like a box. I'm sure we'll have like that border shadow that needs to be here and stuff like that. That'll probably be one of these miscellaneouses. And then font sizes, I mean, I kind of feel like I don't want to type that 1,000 times in my CSS. So keeping those the same, anything that's going to be used a ton, or that I can just write in line, like uppercase or bold, things like that. I don't want to have to write those every time I see something. So spacing things, again, the gaps, the basic flex and grid, I typically have both of those as utility classes. Background colors, as you can see, text colors. And then after that, I basically write everything else from scratch. That's typically what I do. That doesn't mean that's best practice, and that way it like reduces the amount of repeat code I'm writing. So like a lot of these are like very specific to that exact button, like the amount. I want it to be exactly that, and there's probably nothing else on the site that'll be exactly that. I could write utility classes for like justify content and align items, but then at some point you're just writing it for every single flex thing, and then you're like, what about flex children? And then you write stuff for that. So a lot of what you'll see in here is just kind of unique padding, or a lot of these justify content, align items, that kind of stuff. And then I always know that anything grid or anything flex should be my HTML, and everything else that's not one of the things I've already mentioned, I should expect to be in my CSS. right, so we're going to call that good. Actually, let's not change that so I don't have to recommit something. But I hope that's helpful for you. I know this is kind of a long video, but yeah, I look forward to seeing you Tuesday. Like I said, if you weren't here at the beginning, I do have a project coming out on Tuesday where I show you how to make these with just CSS, and you can also tab to them as well. So hopefully you will stick around for that on Tuesday, but I will catch you guys next time. Thanks again for